Good morning, Inspire. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being a member as always, man. Appreciate you. You are first. Good morning, Blackfire. Good to see you as well. Hope life is treating you good. All right. I think we got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way. We got our Twitch dashboard. Got YouTube Studio open. Let's see. Get this title updated. Good morning, Oblivion. Good morning, X187. Good morning, Tyler. Fastest clicker in the West. I'm a pretty fast clicker. I'll tell you, man. That's what I tell people at work, that I'm a professional clicker. I'm a professional button clicker. Because I largely started off in manual testing and QA. So I used to always tell people, like, it's my profession. I'm a manual. I am a professional clicker of things. Can't speak this morning. All right, cool. Got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get our terminal set up the way we want it. Okay. And then let's do that. Good morning, Oblivion. Did I say that? I can't remember if I said that, but good morning. Good to see you all. Glad you're all here. Hope you all are having a nice day. Thank you. Yes, hugs all around. Yeah, the world could, whoops, what did I just do? The world could use a little bit more love and affection right now. It's pretty unfortunate state of the union, in my opinion. Okay. And then we'll have one more terminal for us. We might actually not need Aspire today because we're going to write a lot of tests today. World War III before AGI? It sure does feel like that. Sure does feel like that. I'm trying to think positive thoughts, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's very easy to let your mind run away with all the different, like, what ifs, you know? Like, what if this? What if that? What if this happens? You know, a lot of it's outside of, like, any one of our control, so it's probably not good to dwell on such things, but, you know, we're human. We can't help it. We're kind of hardwired to register dangerous, scary things. Damn, didn't expect it. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I didn't think we were going to get ads in ChatGPT before AGI. That one threw me for a big loop. I thought, you know, but you know, the ads are here, or will be here soon enough. What if I bomb my midterm before the U.S. bombs China? Well, hopefully the U.S. does not do that. And second off, I would not want you to bomb your midterm either. What's your midterm? What's the subject? God forbade you from lying. Oh, that's sweet, sweet first sip of coffee in the morning. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm spoiled. It's Shatopid Information Security. Interesting. Do you actually feel good about it, or do you feel nervous about it? Good morning, D. Good morning. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Apparently, I took it with my own choice. That's good. That's good. Well, I'll be wishing you good thoughts, you know? I'll be thinking good thoughts for you. Oh, you don't like it? Well, it's always good to figure out you don't like something, you know? Figuring out what you don't like is equally as important as figuring out what you do like. All right, let's add another test here. We're gonna add it for Plaid. Well, let's go to the Plaid add handler. Whoops. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. I like living. Being under the sun is special. Laugh my ass off. I just got Nable's post notif. I don't know what any of that means. I'm lost.
Did we just become best friends?
Who just subbed? I missed it. Hold on, hold on. Let me pull up the streamer. Let me pull up the Stream Elements dashboard real quick. Let's see, overlay. No, activity feed. Coffeeism, nice. I like that. Good morning, Coffeeism. Thank you for the follow. It's a great username. Okay. And I think we're going to need a lot of the same, let's see, a lot of the same setup logic here. So we have Plaid removed, but we need Plaid added. That. Okay, and then what things do we need? We need a service provider? Oh, I probably haven't added I need to add an overload for this. So let's do public static Plaid added transaction handler from, and then we'll do return new logger and app context. Come up here. Logger. Plaid. The only developer I've ever seen working on something personal who writes tests. Really? Yeah, I love to write tests. They make me feel warm and fuzzy and safe. I know a lot of people don't seem to write tests. I'm not sure if that's a skill issue or they just don't enjoy it or what it is, but I like to write tests. It's also a good skill, I think, to practice. I do think a lot of people don't know how to do it very well because they haven't done it a ton. So I think it's a good skill to have in your back pocket. Okay. And then let's add some tests here. So the first one, let's go here. All right, so let's just say so we have just a single transaction. This is what I forgot about yesterday. We basically need to do all this same setup again. I can't really, for the life of me, I can't think of a good way to abstract this. I think what would probably be best is some sort of like builder pattern where you could do something like maybe, you know, user dot new dot with institution with I don't know if like some sort of fluent API like with institution. What would it be? With institution, with account, with transaction, something like that. And then pass it in the stuff here. Could be kind of interesting. Dot build, something like that. I'm not sure how that would. I'm not sure. I need to think about that some more about what I want to do there. For now, I'm just going to copy it. I'm just going to copy it. Actually, hold on. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for now. Let's just put this in one place. Let's do protected async task create test transaction. Let's just return transaction. Good morning, Elmani. Good to see you. Hello, AG Daniels. How's it going? It's going well, man. You know, most days when you show up here, the only response to that question is probably going to be I'm doing well. Like I just don't feel like I have much in the world to be unhappy or complain about, you know? Like I'm healthy, my wife's healthy, my kids are healthy. You know? They're safe. Let's see. I guess that's okay. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. What about you? You guys all doing well? NASA Thailand official. Interesting. NASA Thailand, huh? Okay. Does that mean that you represent Thailand's NASA, or you are a fan of Thailand? You're a fan of NASA and you live in Thailand, or something like that. I've actually been reading the Project Hail Mary book the last couple days. It's so good. It's so good. It's making me want to go become a scientist again. So good. I'm about ready to give up computers and software engineering again. AG Daniel, seems to me like you are grounded in the back end than front end or UI. No, I like front end and UI. I just right now I'm working on the back end, but um, I like front end. Front end's good. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's nice to be able to see like visually the thing that you're building come to life, you know? It's kind of an exciting feeling. Like at some point I'm going to have to build a table to display my transactions, which is going to be kind of fun. What am I doing? Trying to copy this. Trying to copy that. Trying to put that over here. Over here. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. Then we can say, instead of all of this, we can say await, or say var, test transaction, plus await. And then here we can say, instead of that, we can say dot the data. Oh, yeah, we have to cast this. Okay, the whole point of that was so that we could come over here and we can reuse it. Public async task handle async when called with new transaction. It should add it. It should add it. It should add to database. I don't know. Add to database. Seems redundant. It's like no shit. No, I think I should think it should add. It should add the transaction. Our test transaction. So wait.
I'd like to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
How good are you at sketching complex subsets of complex equations in an Argand diagram?
Not very good. I don't even know what an Argand diagram is. AG Daniel, could you easily have Vibe coded this project? I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there could have. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think I could have used AI to code a lot of these things, for sure. Probably the Plaid logic would have been a little bit difficult, like the sync update logic would have been a little bit difficult, but I have no doubt you could have probably prompted your way to a solution. Dom, hey, just wanted to say your recent video helped ease my anxiety about where the industry will go. Well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad. I think everyone who works in this field or works in technology in general is dealing with a little bit of angst about just the general state of things, you know? So I'm glad I could help reduce your anxiety just a little bit. I've been working professionally for 5 years, and I've just had this general anxiety about suddenly not having a job or falling behind in the current LLM tools. Definitely feeling the pressure. Yeah, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I totally understand. I understand that the general anxiety of not having a job is something I've struggled with since I've had kids. Since I've been married and since I've had kids. That is constantly been an overwhelming sense of anxiety of like, well, oh shit, if I lose my job, there's 3 human beings on planet Earth that are, depending on me to sort it out. So I totally understand that. I think for me, one of the best ways to put that anxiety at rest has been to save money and build an emergency fund. That helps a lot. I don't know how, like, what your financial situation is like, but being able to create a scenario where you don't, where you lose, where if you lose your job, you're not immediately in crisis mode helps a lot with that, in my opinion. Um, as far as the current LLM tools, I think the only thing you can do is just stay aware of them, like stay in the know. Don't be afraid to test or experiment with them. Doesn't mean you have to use them all the time. Doesn't mean you have to be beholden to them. You just don't want to have your head in the sand type of thing. Lurk away, Omani, and lurk away. How's your week been so far? Oh, it's been good. Yeah, work's been pretty chill. Kids' school's going well from what they tell me. My dog does have surgery tomorrow. It's like a $2,000 surgery. That kind of sucks. But other than that, the week is moving right along. It's crazy how fast the weeks go. I mean, it's already March 4th. We only have like 304 days of the year left. It's flying by. Thanks for the advice. Hope your pillow is always comfy. Thanks, man. Yeah. You too. Yeah, it's difficult to navigate all this, Just got to make it to retirement. All right, so we added the transaction. Let's see. Let's look at the logic here. We added the transaction, so there shouldn't be any existing. Yeah. So I think now we just want to check to make sure it got added, right? Okay. Oh, wait. No, I don't need to do that. That's silly. I just need to have a transaction, which is going to be this new going.plaid.entity.transaction. And then we're just going to say, let's say, Plaid equals Plaid transaction ID. We'll say wait, handle async, give it that collection expression. Test context.current cancellation token, and then oh, we need an account. Okay. I wonder if the account needs to be tracked, right? So we do app.db context, we look for existing transactions. We then log it. Yeah, it needs to be tracked. So how do we want to do this? I don't want to create a bunch of helper methods. So what if we do this instead? What if we do this test user, and instead of that we return the user, and the user will have all of the data that we set up associated with it. So then back in our test we can do something like this where we say create test user, user. And then we can do something like var test transaction equals user dot transactions dot first. Like that. Yeah, that might be an okay way to approach it. And then up here we can say var user equals await create test user async var count equals user dot accounts dot first should be 1, and then we can say transaction ID, we can pass in account here. I think I might switch over to VS Code. VS Code's a little bit easier to run tests, honestly. Let's see, .NET tests. Over here. Yank that. See what happens. Hopefully it works. It worked. I really don't like that it's kind of frustrating that this says test run summary failed when the only reason that these are failed is because there were no tests that matched our filter. This is a new thing from this is new too, because this didn't used to function this way when this was before Microsoft testing platform. I wonder if there's a way to change that. You would think there is, because if you ran that like in a CI/CD environment, I feel like that would be problematic. So uses known exit code start at 0 and are non-negative. Exit. What does exit code 8 mean? The exit code indicates that the test session ran 0 tests. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like we should ignore that. So we should be able to do that by saying, oh no, my viewer count thing broke. We'll fix that. Ignore exit codes 8. Oh, ignore exit code. I just need to remember when I run the test command, I need to, there we go. Now they're passed. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the way I want it to behave. That honestly, in my opinion, should be a default behavior. Because that seems stupid to fail test because none were run. .NET index. There we go. And we're back. All right. Cool. Now there's some other logic we need to have. Let's say fact public async task handle async when called with existing transaction, it should not add the transaction to the database. Oh, whoops. I didn't even have an assertion in there. Result.should.be 1. Okay. I'll do the same thing here again. The only difference is we are going to do var oops. Hey, what's up, Yusuf? How are you? Good to see you here. You're doing well. Okay, so we have cloud transaction, and then we do transaction.metadata. That say nope, you're not null. Plaid ID, this. We will need the account. So this is kind of interesting. It should still increment the added. It should still increment the added. Let's see. This is going to be, let's call this existing transaction. And this will be, whoops. Well, that's interesting. VI, there we go, transaction. And then, so this is still interesting because honestly, this is not a good assertion anymore because the way our logic is written in our handle async is we still want the handle async to basically, if we skip an existing transaction that we were given, that's properly processing it. So we're still going to increment the count of the number that we processed. So what we actually need to do is we need to make an assertion on the database itself. So we need to say var saved, maybe var added transactions equals await at db context dot transactions dot count async, like that. Let's do number of added transactions result dot should dot be 1, not result, sorry, should be number So basically the assertion here we're making is, yes, we should acknowledge that you processed one successfully, but the way you processed it should be that you skipped it, which means in our database we should still have a single transaction, right? And the reason why we have a single transaction is because we added an existing when we made the call up here. So, I mean, we could also add this, we could also do this up above too. So we could say should be 1. No, sorry, should be 2. Like that. Let's go ahead and run the tests again. But this time let's do to handle async. And I think there's a class method too on this. Filter class, I think. How do we get a hold of that? Let's give that here. This might not work. I honestly don't remember if what the filter class thing is. Failed with 1 error. Okay. Let's see. Expected result to be 1, but found 0. Plaid added transaction. When called with new transaction, it should add the transaction. Result to be 1, but found 0. Okay, well, why is that? So this is where I was expecting it would hit, right here. I guess we should make sure that the transaction is actually added to the database. Let's see. Let's look at the source code for this library. Going.plaid. I wonder why they named it going.plaid. Going.plaid. Should have named it like C#.plaid. All right, I want to go to the transactions. Okay, so they just default pending to the default, which is going to be false, right? Or null. So we probably need to set that. Go back here to this guy. Wherever we create the transaction. So pending should equal true. Pending should also equal true here. Okay, let's try again. Try again, try again, try again. I'm more of a print count to the screen at every step in the code type of guy. Hey man, we're all types of guys, you know? You gotta do what you gotta do. Expected number of added transactions to be 2, but found 1. Okay. Is this because this is probably, let's do GUID, new GUID. Let's try again. I like to debug my tests. The problem is when I work in a really small window like this, debugging in NeoVim is a nightmare. So I end up avoiding it. Okay, so I expected the number of added transactions to be 2, but found 1. So the question is, why does that matter? So we create the user. Oh, because this should be false. I'm an idiot. This should be false. Let's have another go at this. Okay, now we expected a result to be 1, but found 0. So we made the one test pass, we made the other one. Let's see, expected result to be 1, but found 0. So now this line isn't working. Which doesn't make, we're gonna have to open VS Code. I gotta debug this because I don't understand what's happening. Let's get Claude to help out. I'm okay, but thank you very much for the suggestion, Fernando. Thanks for being a member, man. Let's see. Let's go over here. We love NeoVim till it all breaks. Oh, it's not NeoVim's problem. It's more of a Stephen Freeborn problem where I just can't deal with the debugger being in a small window in NeoVim because it's very hard to like keep control of the window sizes because my VimFoo kind of sucks. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Okay, let's go over to this guy. Oh, excuse me. All right, let's set a breakpoint in the handler now. Plaid. See what's happening here. So this is the test that's failing. Okay. So we have added. Are you pending? Pending is false, okay. So we should step over. We're going to get the existing metadata. This should be null. Yep. Then we should come down here. Should have an ID, should have an account. Ooh, okay, exception. Let's see. Transaction does not have a valid date or date time. Okay. Easy peasy. We were swallowing that exception for all purposes in the test. So what is the problem? So the problem is basically in here, when we build the new transaction, we call into this posted date property, which then tries to build a date time off of the Plaid object. And we look at a couple different properties and we try to handle a few different states. So that means we need to go back to our test data and just make our test data correct. So this is where instead of pending, we need to have date time equals date time offset dot do UTC now. Do the same thing down here. Okay. Makes me think of maybe I should just be rethrowing that, or maybe I should be throwing that exception. Okay, it's still happening. Why is it still happening? Let's rerun it. Debug. But this time it failed not because of the result, it failed because... Oh yeah, I guess it did still fail. So maybe the exception is still happening? Where are you? Oh, we skipped over it. Debug. Sorry, hold on. I fell behind on the chat here. How did Claude get into your YouTube chat to recommend itself? I don't know, man. Claude's everywhere these days. I did a whole web app, CS2 prediction platform with only vibe coding, not even one line of code done by me. Equip what you think how coders will end up with AI. I think there'll still always be a place for coders, Cheek. But that's pretty awesome you're able to build that, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you're having so much luck with vibe coding. I want to make SaaS applications and make money. Should a beginner start building by Claude Code, or should the beginner build actual full stack skills and then integrate Claude with building? So I think Peter, you might find a lot of competing arguments these days for what to do. In my opinion, I would start with the basics. I would get my fundamentals under me. But I know some people are going to say, yeah, well, if you're just trying to build SaaS applications and you just want to make money, maybe Claude Code is the way to go until you at least get in over your head or something. But if it was me, I'd probably start with the fundamentals and the basics. 187 just got a little sick to my stomach seeing VS Code open. Fernanda, you should learn some basic full stack skills, bro. Otherwise, you'll not know what Claude is doing at all, and it will steer itself into some nightmare. Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like it does. Regardless of what AI tool I've used over the last 2 or 3 years, it does seem like there's always a point in time where some manual intervention is needed. But I'm guessing that's where somebody's going to say, well, that's a skill issue, Steven. You just need to use the right model, and you just need to use the right prompting framework, and this is how you need to wire up your agentic harness, and yada, 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 yada. Let's see, Chick. You are just going to end up lost someday because you probably don't understand any of what Claude did, and you will suck at interviews. No one will hire you. Yeah, I honestly don't know. Like, in this brave new world, I'm not sure. I would think I personally wouldn't go into an interview only armed with my ability to prompt Claude Code and hope for it to get a job, but I don't know, man. People are pretty ate up with AI right now. It wouldn't totally surprise me if someone got a job that way. Even Claude can test every endpoint function, etc. Why do we need to work hard? I just love vibe coding. It's fun, and I'm clueless. Oh, I'm not. Hey, man, it's your life. If you're having a good time and you're having fun, More power to you, dude. Peter Parker. I did vibe coding for months, but I got frustrated again and again as AI wasn't providing me the exact stuff I wished to get from it. That is frustrating, yeah. I mean, in my personal experience, the people that I see who are getting the most value from AI tools, regardless of like software, like just basically regardless of domain, it seems like the people who get the most out of AI tooling in whatever shape that is, it seems like they tend to be people who are very senior in their domain. And I think part of that's because the value you get out of LLMs in terms of the responses that or the text that they generate is all predicated on the text that went in. And so if you're somebody who's deep in your domain knowledge, that means that you have the right language to put into the word calculator to have the best probability of getting the words out of it that you want. So it kind of makes sense that why that would be, but that's my observation. Just learn to prompt, bro. I know that's the problem, dude. You got to prompt better, man. I'm good with prompting. Learn from mistakes, you know. Nice, good for you. I was joking, no offense to anyone. Yeah, no, he was. I think Kurtz was being sarcastic because I was being sarcastic. Because whenever you critique AI in today's world, people just jump into the conversation to tell you the 59 ways you're doing it wrong and how you just need to follow their 50-step prompt framework or how you need to take their agentic development course for $59.99. It's kind of annoying. See, value cannot be null. So I basically need to make sure I have a user ID. I have all that. I need a merchant, a description, the amount, the posted date. Okay. So the problem is I'm trying to insert, or the problem is I'm trying to process an invalid transaction from Plaid in every single one of my tests. And that is why they are failing. So what we should do is we should create some sort of helper method, but let's just do it by hand for now. So we'll say, let's see, we'll put that down here. We'll do merchant name equals test merchant, and we'll do description equal test transaction. What was the other thing? We have posted date, amount, description. Amount we need to set. We have posted date. We have description. We have merchant. So we're going to go back here. We need to set the amount. So let's say the amount is for 100. Let's just go ahead and copy those three things. Put those here. Give this one more go. This is a fun conversation, interesting times. It is, man, it is. We are in a brave new world. A brave new world indeed. Expected number of added transactions to be 2, but found 1. Okay. That's good. So we actually moved beyond this failure. What? Oh. So we haven't called save changes yet. So that's the other thing is in the handler code. So it's not actually in the database. So we haven't actually committed this to the database. So if we go back to the actual logic of the class, all we do is we just add it to the account object. So we haven't actually called save changes. So instead of doing the database assertion, we should actually make sure that it's been added to the account. So we should say result, or sorry, you should say account dot transactions dot should dot have count of 2. And we should do the same thing here. And there should be have count of 1. Now let's rename. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. Woohoo! All them green passes. Let's see. Thanks. Anyway, I'm just being honest. One day we all will be replaced by AI. Even our plumbing pipes will be fixed by AI. So by start learning how to communicate with AI early, we'll be better. Anyway, good luck. Good luck to you too. I don't share your view of the world, but that's okay. We can coexist. And I wish you all the best. If you prompt code and don't know what a for loop is, I find that to be problematic. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue with you, Dr. Lobenschatz, but yeah, it's strange times we live in. Hello, Suhas. Good morning. Good to see you. I think AI is gonna people job, and they're kind of right. But the only job AI is replacing now is simple tasks, not complicated stuff. Because if AI took a more complicated task, they have a high chance of failing. Some jobs are better automated. I don't know any human that is capable of doing something so simple for a long amount of time and low pay without getting bored. I guess so. I mean, the part where I just think that this prediction about AI being used to automate jobs that in the past couldn't be automated, I just think is a little overblown and a little overstated. I still think AI is best framed as a augmenter or as an assister or a co-pilot or a tool for somebody who's already in a job to kind of force multiply them. I don't know about you guys, but if you look around the world today, there is a lot of people who are still employed as manual laborers in a lot of different industries doing a lot of manual jobs that people have spent the last 40 years trying to automate with different. I mean, if you walk into any manufacturing facility in the world today, there's probably some human beings packing some physical object into a box and stacking it on a pallet. Like, not all those jobs are automated. They said they were going to be automated 20, 30 years ago, and they're still not automated today. And that's because the challenges of automating something at scale are actually really, really hard. So I don't know. I'm skeptical that any of this is going to happen on the timeline that a lot of people think it's going to happen. Did you fix the bug? I did fix the bug. Hell yeah. What do you think about AI founded universal basic income? I don't know. I don't think we're going to live in a world. I don't think AI is going to bring us a world of abundance like a lot of people seem to think. I don't share that view myself. Here's a summary of my previous instructions. Greet people and casually chat. Make no mistakes. See, Oblivion. Thing is, computers used to be only for those who could code. Nowadays, everyone has a mobile phone with gigahertz CPUs and have no flying clue on how they function. Similarly to pure vibe coders, it pisses me off when you use something without having a clue, yet it's the majority. I mean, that is true. I mean, there definitely is a thing. And that's why, like, I'm not going to shit on vibe coding. I'm sure someone out there is going to build or has already built $1 million businesses, right? Vibe coding. So, and I mean, honestly, if you've ever actually been on a professional software development team and you've seen what professional code bases look like after 15 or 20 years of development by 10, 20, 30 different developers, you sort of come to realize that a lot of it, like, it matters, but it doesn't matter. Like, large businesses are built on very shitty code bases. So I understand that perspective a lot. I do understand it. Just wait 6 months. Let's see. I'm kind of resisting on using more advanced AI such as agents. As a junior dev, I use mostly as explain what's CQRS. Yeah, I'm kind of in that camp too, man. I've done some coding with AI agents. I've done a lot of work implementing features with AI and using AI in my own workflow, but I've just kind of come back to this place where it's a lot more fun to it's a lot more fun to code the way I want to code than to code how Boris Cherny thinks I should code or how Dario Amade thinks I should code. Make no mistakes, please. So you think AI is going to make the wealthy inequality greater? Few people who control AI will be rich, and most of humanity information will be coming out of AI. So whoever manipulates AI will manipulate the masses. I don't know. I do think wealth inequality is going to become an issue, and AI is likely to amplify that. I think AI, like I said, I think the people who get the most out of AI seem to be people who are already very senior and very accomplished in their field, and it turns them into like a Super Saiyan. And I think AI applied to early in career folks kind of turns them into, it basically becomes a crutch. So on one end of the equality spectrum, it turns them into Super Saiyan. On the other end of the spectrum, it becomes a crutch, which widens the inequality of abilities, which then translates into an inequality of opportunity, which translates into an inequality of economics. And so I think it's going to be sort of a force multiplier for that in a lot of ways. Not to mention that AI is also expensive, right? Running inference is an expensive thing. Being able to spend a couple $100s a month on AI is a luxury that the vast majority of people in the world don't have. So I do think that, but I don't necessarily think that I don't think that's going to force people to go into the universal basic income. I think that's a nice thought, but I think human beings are way too greedy to ever go along with that idea. Omanian, probably going to take like 50 to 500 years to automate simple tasks. Well, if it's going to take that long, I'm going to be dead in the ground. In 50 years, I'll be 82. So one of two things are going to be true when I'm 82. Either I'm not going to be working, so I don't give a shit about any of this, or two, I'm dead. In which case, it doesn't fucking matter anyways. So I might as well spend my time on Earth enjoying my time. Fernando, human slop. Yes, human slop does exist. It does exist. Steven, do you ever get tired of all the AI versus human debates? I think I do, yeah. I definitely get I'm 100% exhausted with it, but I know that it's the thing right now. I know it's the thing people it's on their mind. It's what they're thinking about, especially if you're an engineer, you're in tech, and you're concerned for your job. So I understand it's going to come up a lot. So I don't really blame people for wanting to discuss it or hash it out. I think a lot of times people are rubber ducking. They're trying to work out their own feelings and thoughts, and they want to kind of have a sounding board. So it doesn't bother me, but yeah, I think most people are exhausted with the AI conversation. I think most people are ready to move on to something else. The time I spend trying to figure out what I'm going to code allows me to explore all the new nuances of how I want it to work. I mean, I had some of the most fun. I've been working on a video. I've been working on some code that I'm going to make a video of. That's not at all what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you guys this code just to go off what Dr. Lobenschatz said. Like, I had the most fun the other day when I sat down to wire together this example code. and I was working through like some clever ways to write end-to-end tests, and it was fun to sit down and kind of work through like, how would I want this test code to look? Like, how do I want it to be readable? Like, for example, I wanted it to kind of read like a sentence, have a nice fluid interface to it. So like, user uses ability, browse the web to navigate to the to-do manager page route, right? Like, I wanted it to be something that kind of felt, again, like a sentence. And so it was fun to sit down and really like kind of write this out as wishful thinking, and then actually go through the process of like shaping the code into that form. And that's the part that, again, like, some people might say, well, no one gives a shit about that, and AI can do it 10 times faster than you. And that's fine. But then I miss out on the enjoyment of actually getting to do that. So I kind of feel you there. Is like getting to work through the nuances of how you want something to work is a lot of fun, and a good time. And maybe that's not something you can do in your professional life anymore, and that's okay, you know? And maybe it's only stuff we'll get to do recreationally. But that's, you know, the world changes, life changes. So a lot of people talk about AI making people dumb. If the output increases, does that not matter how you measure intelligence? By memorizing every single multiplicative number is pointless in the times of calculators. So a lot of people have brought this argument to me about like LLMs being decoding what calculators are to math. The thing is, we still teach people math, and we've had calculators for a long time, right? So I don't think just because you have a tool that gives you leverage means you stop educating yourself about the fundamentals, I guess. But like both my sons, right? They're in elementary school right now, right? They've been spending years at this point learning the basics, because the basics matter in order to figure out how to use the tool properly. And I think that's, I think that's so I don't think that really works. I don't think that assertion that like, just because you have calculators, it means you don't need to learn your multiplication tables. Kurtzy's clip farming. Who, I'm clip farming? I hope I'm not clip farming. I try not to clip farm. AI versus human is less than AI plus human. Yeah, that's kind of where I am at. I think there's more. I think AI is much more better framed as a co-pilot or as a force multiplier than as a replacement. I also just don't think it's gonna be fun. Like, I don't know, maybe there are people out there that want to spend their days just working with agents, but like, I like working with other humans to accomplish hard things. There's some enjoyment to that. There's some innate value to that. My employer has an AI team, and we just did an AI hackathon to slop whatever we wanted. It was wild. Nice. Well, I'm glad you guys had fun doing that, or I hope you guys had fun doing that. That seems like it could be a really fun way to kind of spark ideation and innovation around what you're building. That's cool. Good morning, Justin. I got here right in time for the juicy chit chat. Yeah, we're having another AI roundtable. This happens like once or twice a week now. Just because AI exists doesn't mean people should actually learn. Yeah. It's the very basic fact that knowing what you can do by having practiced it, you will be better equipped when having to come up with something new or knowing why you should want to skip it. Yeah, I think, yes, what Oblivion said. Oblivion is much more articulate than me. I want to be a programmer, not a manager. Yeah, I don't have an interest in being at least I don't mind being like a manager, like leading people, but I don't really want to be a wrangler of agents. I will do it temporarily to keep my job if that's what I have to do, but I don't want to spend 40 hours a week talking to an LLM or wrangling agents. That's just not my forte. What do you reckon the next hype is? 6G, quantum computing, the indie web? Dude, I would I want the indie web to be a thing. Like make the web weird again. I'm totally bought into that. I think I think one of the coolest, like I don't know what the next hype thing would be, but I would love the next focus of technology to be really creating some sort of um, basically like what Blue Sky is trying to do with App Proto and what Mastodon is trying to do with the crap. I forgot what the protocol is that Mastodon runs on, but that kind of open federated web idea where you can sort of have like the almost like the email equivalent, but for social media. I think that would be really cool. But I don't know what the next hype will be. I'm sure it'll be something. Good morning, Shiv. Good to see you. A lot of vibe coders ignore the system and architecture design part of software engineering. Yeah, this is true. So you don't need to do large calculations, should understand what addition means, what multiplication means, to not skip the basics when you think about CPU. They are just calculators which can do memory. Huh. I think AI also forces programmers to sharpen their communication and planning skills. It's a fundamental skill that does not trained often. Yes, communication. Yeah, communication is definitely a skill that is lacking in the tech community. I think that's more important than being able to produce 100 lines of code in a minute. I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. The best way to get better at coding is to think before actually implementing. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Although I think there's something to be said about using like I'm thinking or I'm planning. Like I think sometimes it just makes sense to get into the code. Like you know, like have you ever been in one of those meetings where there's like 5 people in the room and they're all theorizing and conjecturing, and maybe you have like 2 or 3 meetings like that, and in that same amount of time somebody could have just went off and like wrote some code and came back and said, yeah, that was dumb, let's not do that. Your multi-agent systems, orchestration, configuring large systems, making them work. Yeah, activity pub, is that it? Yeah, activity pub. I think something like that would be pretty cool. I like the idea of like sort of like distributed social media where you own your data and you can take it with you wherever you want to go. I like that idea. I like the network effects of social media, right? I just don't necessarily care for like all the icky parts of social media. I have become part of a growing social media platform that is invite only and is strongly inspired from MySpace. I made myself a really custom profile page, and it's so refreshing to interact with reasonable humans online. That's very cool. Yeah. I wish there was a social space that had like verifiable identities. I think that's the one thing I wish there was in the world. I kind of hate the fact that, I mean, I understand why anonymity and what's that word? I can't, I'm not going to try to say it again. I understand why people can be anonymous online and the value that offers, but I wish there was a place you could opt in to where you're on a social network where people have to sort of be doxxed by default, so that because I just think people behave differently when they can be anonymous or hide behind fake profiles, names, and pictures and stuff than if they have to actually represent their real life self. You know, I think it just creates a different environment, different interaction. AI cuts out the problem solving skill development. I would, yeah, I still think, I mean, I've written blog posts, I made videos about this. No one's been able to explain to me like how do you become a good coder without coding? How do you become a good software architect without coding? How do you become a good writer without writing? I don't understand how that works. People seem to think it will work, but I'm not convinced. But can't that all be fit faster with AI? This is dumb, it won't work. Oh, for sure. Yeah, that seems like a great place, Justin, to use AI, 100%. And it seems like now there are probably more meetings that can just become, well, somebody go write the code, right? And by writing the code, I mean someone go get Claude Code or Gemini CLI or Copilot or whatever, and spend a day like hashing it out, right? 100%. Totally agree with that. Be careful what you wish for. And no, nim itty. Yeah, for some reason I can't say that word. But I'm glad you guys knew what I was trying to say. Social media just exemplifies humanity. The better and worse it makes, the worst subsections of humanity gather together. Let's see. Do you use Windows? I do use Windows, yeah. I use Windows 11. I wish there is a social media where everything end-to-end encrypted and which is decentralized, and I decide what I want watch, not an algorithm. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know if the end-to-end encryption stuff and the decentralization is really cool, but yeah, the idea of like you have to explicitly, you have to explicitly define your content feed yourself. That might be kind of interesting nowadays. I guess that's kind of how it used to be back in the day by following people, is it used to, your feed used to be just built on the people you follow, but now it's all very algorithmic content, which I can't really hate on because I feel like I laugh so much when I scroll through TikTok, so I kind of appreciate the algorithmic, but I just wish there was options, right? I just wish there was options. Let's see, AI does not cut out problem solving. I've seen people vibe apps with clearly none of it, and God, is it bad? Never works. Constant complaints, bugs, and miscommunications. Your stream is such a good company on the morning. Oh, well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. This is pretty much what we do every morning. So sometimes there's a little bit more code, sometimes there's a little bit more chat, but we don't do the AI thing every day. The AI thing happens like, I don't know, twice a week, 3 times a week. We kind of spill down the rabbit hole, but I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. AI, fix the problem. I'm sorry, Steven, I can't do that. See, when called with pending transaction, it should skip the transaction. So we'll set pending to true. Anti-malware service executable is draining my laptop battery like crazy. It's not even stopping. Huh. That sucks. Yeah, some of those tools that like scan your device, like we have a one that we use at work, and I always notice it sucks up a lot of my computer's resources. So we only ran 2 tests. Why did we only run 2 tests? Did I forget to write that out? Oh no, there was 3. Sorry, there was 3. Speaking of indie web, have you heard of Kaji, the paid search engine? They have a page dedicated to searching indie websites. Oh no, I haven't. What's it called? Kaji? Kaji? Liberate your search. I've not heard of this. Paid search engine, huh? World's best search engine at your fingertips. Remember when search meant finding what you need? We brought that back. Yo, remember when this tool did the thing you wanted it to do? That's good copy. That's good copy right there. Kaji doesn't sell your attention to advertisers. We don't track you. We don't clutter your results with sponsored content. We simply help you find what you're looking for. When you choose Kazi, you're choosing search that works for you. So it's kind of like like your Google, like the search experience you'd expect. And they're comparing it to Google. Okay. Interesting. Now the moment of truth, what's their pricing? Because that's always going to determine, because now everyone's anchored to a free price. So for $5 a month, you get 300 searches. Huh, that I'd go through that probably pretty quick. For $10 a month, you get unlimited searches. Huh. It's an interesting idea, paid search engine in 2026. I wonder what their revenue's like. Let's see, live stats. 66,000 members pioneering the frontier of search. They have 8,000 families. So let's say that's what? 66 plus 8. And what was their pricing? So they'll say they have roughly 100,000 users. The individual price, let's just say most are on the $5, and then what's the family plan? 14 or 20. So let's say 5, 20. Let's call the middle 12. So let's say 12 at 100,000 users a month. That's a 1.2 million a month. 1.2 million times 12. So it's like a $12 million business. 14 million. Yeah, 14 million. Huh. That's crazy. I mean, that's probably a little high estimate. My numbers are pretty best guess estimates, but that's interesting. Okay. Well, thanks for calling that out. I did not know this existed. It gave you a number in the millions written in English. I know, isn't that funny? Pablo, you are too generous. Yeah, I probably overshoot there, but I mean, even the fact that if you're making $1 million a year on a paid search product, that's pretty crazy, right? By the way, if you don't use their search for a month, you get credit towards the next month. That's nice. That's super nice. So you pay for them to not sell your data. I like how you put quotes around there. Not. Why would someone pay to use this? Yeah, I think that's the main reason, is just you are privacy or data privacy minded person. Also, good morning, Pablo. It's good to see you again, man. Hope you're doing well. The best way to stay private is to go get a boat, go to the middle of the ocean, break your boat, swim to shore, hide for a few months or a year. Now you are anonymous. I don't want to be anonymous, though. Windows people needing an antivirus. Remember when a screwdriver drove a screw? Yeah, that's exactly what that copy was. It was like, hey, remember when the thing you used to use all the time actually did what you wanted it to do? That's what we'll be saying in a few years with these editors that we use, right? They'll, like one day it'll be like someone will come out with a paid editor product that's like, remember when you could use a text editor to actually edit text instead of prompt an LLM? Do you use Tmux on your VMS? I do not use Tmux. I'm on Windows 11, and I just use all Windows native stuff for the most part. I'm running Windows Terminal, and then I have PowerShell as my shell of choice, and then I have NeoVim running inside PowerShell. Ran a quick query on my browser's history DB. I Googled 1,390 times in the last month. Damn. Yeah, you'd have to get that unlimited. You'd have to get that unlimited plan, the $10 month plan. Can you Google Stephen Freeborn? Are you okay with that level of public knowledge of you? Yeah. I've never had an issue with being not anonymous. Yeah. I've always felt like it's probably more important that you control your digital footprint or be in charge of your digital footprint than to just allow it to be whatever it is, you know? I've never had an issue with putting myself out in front publicly. My wife is definitely much more sensitive about that than I am. FYI, I use my own search engines usually. That's specifically Google. So that means I searched something, realized it was not up to par, and tried Google. I love that. That's hilarious. You did that 1,300 times. That's awesome. Hey man, have you ever contemplate building an app like PDF mix with YouTube and Cyberblock password and help info use? Nicholas, I don't know exactly what that app is that you're describing, but I don't think I've ever contemplated it though. So the most of the apps I contemplate building have to do with something in my life. Excuse me. I'm very selfish in that way. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with helping other people. Unfortunately. Which is why I've not made very much money from anything I've built so far. Maybe one day, though. What's up with the Freeborn podcast? It was experiments that I did. Oh man, God, man, I probably made that video. I'm 32. Like 8 years ago, 6 years, 7 years ago. It's been a long time. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff on my like YouTube channel and around the internet of just different experiments that, like, my wife and I did a podcast for a little bit. You know, that's what you do when you're making content. You know, you just kind of experiment with stuff. And it's fun. It's fun. You learn new things, figure out things, you know. It's a good time. I need the podcast back. I don't know. I don't know at this point what it would look like. I love to see talking about tech on podcasts. Yeah, I like podcasts like that too myself. I don't know if people want to hear what I have to say about those things, but I do enjoy them as well. How's the horses? No horses here. I'm doing well though. Good to see you, David Bailey. We're all millionaires in the future. It just depends which future we choose. Dr. Lobenshot, nice. See, it's a business program for help, private chain. Huh. Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of the concepts you're talking about, Nicholas. But if that's your idea, chase it down, man. You know, you never know. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So why not? You know, why not try to make it happen?
Did we just become best friends?
Lyric Wave, thanks for the sub. I appreciate you. It's very kind. Is this JavaScript? This is C#. Lyric Wave. This is C#. Okay. So we need to implement a similar thing here. See, I'm slowly getting better at my Vim too. Slowly but surely. Okay. Now we test. Okay, so I have a couple different pieces of logic we need to test. I wonder how I can verify that we actually updated the values, though. That's the other thing. I need to probably verify that. So if the metadata is not Plaid transaction metadata, then we have an issue. Okay. Then we also need to make sure that we can actually find the modified transaction. If we can't find that, then we need to write a test for that. Then we need to make sure we update the current values. But they're not going to be saved to the database because we haven't called save changes yet. So let me ask Gemini about this. I honestly don't know how this works. Let's see. I'm working in C# with entity framework. I'm updating an existing entity attached to the change tracker, like so. Whoops. Like so. Does this call actually modify the existing entity in memory? Help me, Gemini. You are my only hope. You always have to add stuff like that, so the model feels really like it really needs to do its job well. Average developer podcast, no unnecessary hype, not talking about overly complicated stuff, just normal developer stuff. Yeah, that, I mean, it would be fun. It would be cool to do something like that with other people. I don't think I want to do that as a solo project. Lyric Wave, where is this language used? C#. It's used a lot in a lot of like enterprisey corporate settings, I think. I don't think it gets much love in the smaller companies, but definitely larger orgs. Here in Kansas City, where I'm at, there's quite a big .NET community. Like if you go to the .NET meetup here in Kansas City, there's usually 20, 30 people who attend. It's pretty, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but if I've been to a lot of the other community meetups here in town, and it's usually one of the larger meetups. And there's always, it seems like there's always a lot of job postings in this area for .NET developer gigs. Ever tried Emacs? I have not tried Emacs. Nope. I've watched, there's a streamer I've been watching. Her name's Bash Bunny, and she uses Emacs, and it looks cool, but I've never tried it myself. Pablo, LOL, no. That's 2023. The type of guy who says thank you and please to AI. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm beholden to the AI. How would I ever do anything without having access to an LLM? I just realized that you can learn anything with the internet. You just need to have the right technique. You just realized this, Elmanian? You just realized this? It's 2026. The internet's been around for 30 years. Hi, sir. I'm a newbie knowing nothing on computer science or coding. If I want to learn or start back-end dev, what should I learn from the start? Okay, so you're only wanting to learn back-end dev. Normally when people say this, I usually send them to Free Code Camp and tell them to do their back-end or do their full stack certification. You might still be interested in that. You could maybe take a look at that, Mai Tang. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I'm just gonna shill for Free Code Camp here because they're awesome. So Free Code Camp, you might take a look at that. The other platform that I've heard good things about is, let's see, I've also heard good things about boot.dev, but I've never took any of their courses. So I can't like fully endorse them. I've never took any of their stuff, but the people that I've heard from that have taken it say nice things about it, and it has more of a back-end developer track to it. So maybe that's more up your alley. So maybe some of those resources will be helpful for you. Shurat, how is Code Academy? I've never done anything through Code Academy, so I can't really speak to it. Lyric Wave, Free Code Camp is outdated though? Oh really? You think Free Code Camp's outdated? Huh. They just updated their full stack curriculum like in the last 6 months. They just pushed a whole new full stack curriculum. Yeah, I don't think Free Code Camp's outdated, but you're obviously definitely entitled to your opinion. Please stop polluting the context with begging and thanks. C# is used lots in government as well. Okay, cool. There you go. Yeah, Justin, you work in C#, right? Yeah. I see the Star Wars ref. Yeah. Slander. See you, Dr. Loban Shots. I'm new to Earth. Well, welcome. On this planet, we have a species that walks on 2 legs and does a lot of dumb shit. Outdated and web doesn't exist. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Free Code Camp doesn't have a C course, unfortunately. I don't know if I necessarily think that's unfortunate. But yeah, if you're wanting to learn C, that's probably not the right place to go. Database CS50 is also good. CS50 is good for everybody. Whether or not you want to be a developer or a programmer, CS50 is good. I just think I would watch CS50 just for David Malin. David Malin's just such a good teacher. He's such a good lecturer. It's worth the experience. If your programming language does not start with C, you're not really coding. So I'm safe then, right? I'm safe. Thank you guys. So now I should learn the fundamentals, like start with C. I wouldn't tell you to start with C myself, Mai Tang. Some other people in chat I think probably would. I would tell you to start with JavaScript, but that's just, that's my opinion. I mean, they don't teach in depth like real life example. Yeah, I disagree with that, Lyric Wave. I think Free Code Camp's courses and project based learning are great. I don't agree with the critique. Apparently there's rustlings for C and Zig 2 clings and ziglings. Ooh, ziglings? Ziglings? Learn the Zig programming language by fixing tiny broken programmers. Huh. That's cool. We'll have to put that in our. There we go. Just star that. Put that in our back pocket. Oh, they moved it. What's Codeberg? I've never heard of Codeberg. Is that a new thing? Is that an anti-GitHub thing? Codeberg is a non-profit, community-led organization that aims to help free and open source projects prosper by giving them a safe and friendly home. Interesting. Codeberg is a German, it's German. It's a German non-profit organization specialized in open source software development services. Interesting. Huh. Gentoo announced its presence on Codeberg, citing GitHub's attempts to force them to use Copilot as the motivation for the move. At the end of November 2025, the Zig programming language announced moving to Codeberg as GitHub.
Throbbing22 is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you very much. It's funny to hear your username read out loud.
Throbbing22 is reminding you to hydrate.
I don't think I have any. Oh yeah, I guess I have a little bit of Gatorade left. Pablo, also, I just like all the GH alternatives so far. I haven't found a good one. I've been experimenting a little bit with Tangled. I don't know if you guys have heard of Tangled. It's built on App Proto. I've been experimenting with this one a little bit. Whoops. No, that's not right. I need my Blue Sky password. What is my Blue Sky handle? Copy. Username. Is it at StephenFreeborn.com maybe? There we go. Now I need my password. Uh-oh. Yeah, I haven't found an alternative I like either. So I share your frustrations. But I hadn't heard of Codeberg. Huh. I wonder why it's failing to log in. It's weird. But yeah, anyways, this is the one I've been using, Tangled. But maybe I'll try Codeberg out. I wonder if they have like do they have, let's see, services, Codeberg pages, translate, Woodpecker CI. That's interesting. Codeberg provides a Woodpecker CI instance at ci.codeberg.org. Onboarding requires a few manual steps. What is Woodpecker CI? Is that like their GitHub Actions? Yeah. Huh. I haven't heard of any of these technologies. Yeah, I'll have to give these a try. So Woodpecker and Codeberg. So I'll star these. Codeberg, or bookmark them. Done. You have to give those a go.
Kelsey says, keep up, old man.
Dude, there's so much to keep up with. It's crazy, honey. This is crazy. I'm becoming an old man where I'm like, you know what? I'll let the kids figure out what the next thing is. I saw a few, and there were some that just didn't work at all. That's lame. Max Dev Mastery. Hey, Tradcoder. Hello, Max Dev Mastery. It's been a minute since I've seen you. Thanks for coming back. Also, Copilot is not a good reason to leave. LOL, there are better. Yeah, I guess the Zig programming language went over there too, which seems like it was probably a big deal. Throbbing22, can I ask you something? For sure, you can always ask. Yeah, Codeberg is anti-GitHub, anti-AI thing. Interesting. German means it's more complex. Well, I mean, the Germans they are good engineers, that's for sure. And not just like in software. They make like good engineers in everything. Good morning, Riley King. Come back home, my friends. See, I think the specific language doesn't matter. You just need to start with a simple console app. That's totally fair. Rust isn't real, and Zig is a fever dream. To some people, those would be fighting words. Yeah. Better Hub looked cool. Okay, let's check out that one. Now we're going on a software shopping. Let's see, Better Hub. Build your own community. No, that's not the right one. Better Hub. Reimagining code collaboration. BetterHub.com. Reimagining code collaboration. A better place to collaborate on code for humans and agents. Oh, interesting. They have any, like, about us? Oh, I'll watch demo.
I'd like to say something.
Crocodiles can grow up to 20 feet, but most have just 4.
The more you know. I like the UI. I think the UI looks pretty cool. Like issue tracking. Yeah, it almost looks more like a. It looks like a. Have you guys tried that app? What's that app? Linear. It almost looks like a Linear product. Interesting. I don't care a shit ton about all the AI stuff, but it might be interesting to explore a new graphical user interface. Ooh, I like the slide. I like that sidebar collapsing. Huh. Yeah. I'll have to check these out. I think I was just watching that video on a loop too. Yeah, this is a UI wrapper. Okay. Yeah, it looks similar to Graphite. Is it free? I don't know. Let me look. Better Hub. Sorry, Better. I said Better Off. Better. Oh, it's made by Better Off. Okay, that's why I said that. I was incepted. I don't know. I think I just created an account. Yeah, it doesn't say. Better. It looks free. Better Hub pricing. I mean, I'm sure it won't always be free, but it looks free. Yeah, it looks like it's free to sign up. I bet at some point they try to make money off of it. It's probably an experiment at this point, right? And then they'd probably monetize it if they actually did reach some sort of user base. Steven just looking at different hubs this morning. Well, we were doing a little bit of web surfing. We were writing some code, I promise. We wrote some code. Let's see. Yes, it absolutely does. Calling set values modifies the property. Cool. So that means we can assert on it, which is what I was after, trying to figure out. All right, so let's go to Plaid. Let's go to the integration tests. Let's say public async task. It's too new. OpenAI is apparently building one as well. Interesting. At least until they add paid features. Why are there so many code forges? I'm on SourceHut and I have heard of Codeberg. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's always nice to have options, but I don't know why OpenAI is building one. They should be working on AGI. But BetterHub is open source, so free so far. Nice. I've kind of wanted to try self-hosting solution, and I've been looking at Gitti. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. That's one I've wanted to try. Pablo, money. The universal answer. If you ask why enough times in the real world, you eventually just get down to the answer of money. Everything ends there. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Money. Have you considered GitLab? I've not looked at it. No. Is that something you can self-host? I was not aware that you could self-host that. OpenAI needs to make money or they are dead, and the amount they need is a lot. That's I agree with that. I agree with that assessment, Pablo. Yeah, big time. With container, GitLab is the go-to nowadays. Oh, okay, cool. I'll definitely check that out. So you can run it in a container. Very cool. I think GitLab has a ready to go. Okay, very awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Lyric, do you teach too? No. Nope. I just make content for fun, and I make a little bit of money from
Ilmanian
AdSense.
is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you, Almanian, for the reminder. I've only had 1 cup of coffee this morning. But yeah, I make content for fun. I make like $100 a month from AdSense revenue, and I pay 30% on taxes on that, and then I have a full-time job. If you're ever curious, you can do !LinkedIn, and you can go creep on my LinkedIn if you want to see where I work and what I do. GitLab is bad. Have used it several times. Just miss GitHub every day. Really? I'm open to it being worse than GitHub if it's self-hosted, right? I'm willing to make that trade-off. I just heard. Have you guys heard some of these horror stories where people have had their GitHub like account suspended or deleted, and they lose like all their repos? That kind of scares me. And right now, I have some of my code local, but there's a lot of repositories on my GitHub that I don't have pulled down locally. And so the idea of like someday somebody just yanking it away because I did something I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do or something, that's kind of scares me. But GHUX is so much better. That's fair. I will concede. I've not tried GitLab, but I'm happy to concede to your opinion. Good morning, Danny. Good to see you. Oblivion. My entire life is on GitHub. I'd go knock at their door with an axe real quick if they took down my account. I mean, it would be a big deal to me. There's a lot of things on there that I would be sad to lose. I mean, it wouldn't be like. It wouldn't have real economic consequence to me, but it would have like, what's the word? Like sentimental. Like there's stuff on there. Like there's all the code that I wrote when I was doing all the free code. But yeah, that would be really shitty. Yeah, that I've heard some of these horror stories that Pablo just mentioned. It seems like that could be really bad. Oh, and I'd sue the ever-living crap out of them. The UI is def better in GitHub, but I'm thinking to have multiple remotes and keep my code with different Git providers. So that's what I've been trying to do with Tangled. That's basically Max, what you mentioned is what I've been trying to do with Tangled. Is I've been trying to have like a repo on Tangled and a repo on GitHub. But I think it might be even better to have like a repo that's on my NAS, right? Like that the backing store is my network attached storage thing. Would be nice. So what I'm hearing is Oblivion and Uncle Pee-wee are gonna show up at GitHub corporate with axes. That's what I'm hearing. Let's see. When called with existing transaction, it should update the transaction. Allegedly. Oh yeah, I gotta throw allegedly. Gotta throw that in there. Oh my goodness, dude. That's too funny. Let's see, var results equals await dot handle sync We need the account, the transaction, and the cancellation token. So we'll say var account equals user account style first, and then we'll say var transaction going at Plaid. Oh, SUT, good practices. Yeah, I always name things SUT. I don't know where I picked that up. Probably from some course or something I took, and it's just kind of stuck with me. Some people would probably prefer things to be named a little bit more explicitly, but I kind of like it that way. Gotta throw the new in here. I tried something crazy today and filmed a video of a large groceries ticket, passed it to an AI, and got all the products and their prices correctly formatted as JSON. That is crazy, dude. That's super crazy. Yeah, that's awesome. LLMs, man, they are a wonderful piece of technology. They open up like a whole new door, right? They open a door to possibilities that like you just couldn't really have imagined before they were a thing that was freely available, or not freely, easily available. Max said mastery. It's common practice means system under test. Yeah, I knew what it meant, but I was just saying that like I know some people might not feel like that is a descriptive enough name or clear enough name, but I'm okay with it.
Uncle Pee-wee is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you, Uncle Pee-wee. I actually need to go get more coffee here in a minute because this is probably going to be my final sip. Multitasking a bit. I need help. Got 6 terminals, 2 Unity editors, 2 file explorers, 1 IDE, and 2 browsers open. Oh man, there's no tab discipline over there. One of the developers I work with, I always give him shit every time we screen share because it never fails. The minute he shares his screen, it's literally just like a Chrome window that has an infinite number of tabs at the top of it. I'm like, bro, you gotta practice some tab discipline. Max, probably people without experience. That's fair. That's fair. Infinite is not enough. We need more tabs. We need to create a meme instead of like the more cowbell meme. It's the more tab meme. Let's see. Hey, I'm learning C. What would you recommend? I've never written any C before in my life. And I've never learned it. I've never written any, never read any. So I would have to defer to chat. And chat might have some good resources. I know there's several people in chat who know C and have both recommended people learn C as their first language. So I'll defer to them. Oblivion. Oh, I clean out my tabs. I just have all my monitors split into 4 apps each. Nice. Okay. So no app discipline over there. No window discipline. I have 410 tabs at the moment. That's nuts, dude. I can't do that. I can't do that. It produces anxiety. I close my tabs like every 10 minutes. I had a 1 pixel click area per tab at one point. That's hilarious. Not gonna lie, I really have more than 15 tabs in one window. Yeah, I'm kind of like you, Max Dev. I'm pretty anal about the number of tabs. Let's see, if you're learning C, skip it. You either go full low level to assembly or full C++ or newer. Nice. That's I did not know that was going to be your guys' advice. Y'all do not be using that many tabs for real. Just use bookmarks. More than 20 tabs and I'm lost. Yeah. How many tabs is too many? I don't know. I mean, 4 maybe? 4 or 5. I think it's kind of overwhelming. I mean, I guess like at work I have Gmail. I always have 5, I guess, at work. I have Gmail, my calendar, Slack, Gmail, my calendar, Slack. And we have like an internal tool that we do a lot of management stuff in. So I guess I always have like 4 tabs, but I probably don't go beyond 5 or 6 tabs. I have pretty good tab discipline. James, more than 1? You have a phone, LOL. Try learning Salt. You'll need 50 just for the damn repos. What is Salt? I've never heard of this. Bob, no desktop Slack. I've gone back and forth over the years, but right now I'm currently in my Slack in the browser era. But I've gone back and forth with the desktop Slack app. Pablo, there's almost no reason for C nowadays other than maintaining a code base already in C or Arduino, I guess. Oh, interesting. I had not heard anybody express it like that. I haven't had much interest to go learn C. But if like somebody, like, who was it that was asking? Somebody was asking. What was their name? Hashish. If you are someone that's going to learn C, I guess, where would you point them to? Oh, that's nice of you. Thank you, 817, for giving him some advice there. This is Salt. I probably shouldn't click on links like that so eagerly on stream. Let's see, Salt overview. The Salt system is a Python-based open-source remote execution framework for configuration management, automation, provisioning, and orchestration. Interesting. Salt delivers a dynamic communication bus for infrastructure to leverage in remote execution, configuration management, automation, and orchestration. Very interesting. I've not heard of this. Man, I've learned about a bunch of new technologies today on stream. Interesting. Do y'all use this at work or something? Oh, it's by VMware. Huh? Or at least VMware owns it, I guess. Is this a well-known thing? Am I out of the loop? Welcome to Salt Project. Salt. What is Salt? It's automation, infrastructure management. It's data-driven orchestration, remote execution. It's configuration management. It's so much more. Huh. Yeah, I guess I'll put that one on the list too. Too many things to learn about. Glenn, what's your coding background, Stephen? Mostly C#, TypeScript. Last year we learned Go, which was fun. But as far as like work, maybe you're asking more about like work background. My work background is I was a food scientist for 7 years, something like that. Then I was a support analyst. Then I moved into the quality department as just a manual tester. And then I kind of upskilled into an actual engineer role in the QA department. And that's where I've been for the last 5-ish years. And mostly I work with .NET, TypeScript at work. Yeah. And it's good. I have a good time. I'm reading Android OS codes these days. It's quite fun. What would you have to say about that? I don't know anything about Android. I don't know anything about mobile development in general. Almost everything I've developed has been web-based. I guess we did just build a native desktop application in Rust on stream. That was pretty fun. But everything else has pretty much been web-based. Web or CLI or like a background job. type of thing. Uncle Pee-wee, it handles over 100,000 plus systems for us. Wow, that's crazy. So very robust. Huh, I've never heard of it before. I appreciate you sharing it though. It's super, super nice of you. What are we trying to do here? We're gonna try to see if things get updated correctly. So result.should.be 1. And then let's go get some, excuse me, transaction information. Modified, yeah. Oh, whoops. Let's go over here. Grab that. Okay, and then we'll do result. Or no, sorry, not result. We should do account dot transactions dot should have 39 stream streak. That's insane, man. Thank you so much for hanging around so much, man. That's really, really kind of you. Guess I don't really need that. First dot merchant name. Oh, merchant name. So this should be, let's just make this a GUID. That way we know for sure it did get updated. I don't remember if I wrote that out. Steven, any advice for my cybersecurity journey? I don't, man. Beyond like generic advice, which I don't know how specific you're looking for. My generic advice would be don't be afraid to take a job that maybe isn't exactly the job you want, but helps you maybe work your way into the job after the fact, right? So don't be afraid to take something that gets your foot in the door. What else? Be a good communicator. Understand the business that you work for and how they make money. Try to speak about your job in a way that relates to how what you do adds value to the company and contributes to the company's mission of making money. But yeah, I don't have anything specific.
Telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Pee-wee. Hey, buddy. Good morning. Good morning, all. Hey, Rocket Brain. Life is good. Coffee is good. Code is awesome. I like the energy you're bringing this morning, Rocket Brain. We need that positivity. Love it. Life is good. Life is good. Okay, why? Okay, the reason why this is happening is, so we should do var transaction equals account dot transactions dot first, and let's make this existing transaction, and then here what we need to do is we actually need to use we need to set this. This is how we look up if the transaction already exists. So this needs to be Plaid transaction metadata, existing transaction metadata dot Plaid ID. That, and this is going to become transaction. Oh goodness, what have I done? And then we should be able to say existing transaction. Yeah, let's try that again. I don't get cybersecurity. I did QA for a side hustle once. We were really successful. Nice, very cool. Yeah, cybersecurity is just it's a very big field, and it seems to cross a lot of different domains and disciplines. And it seems like it's kind of who's responsible for it and what they do kind of shifts from company to company in the real world. I mean, I'm sure there's an academic, definition and descriptor for it, but like when I actually talk to people, like the company I work for, we're heavily in the GRC space. And so when I talk to people who work in sort of that area of a company or have that kind of title, what they do and their educational background and their responsibilities and stuff, there's a wide spectrum of what it means, in my opinion, or based on my experience. Okay, I'm not sure why this isn't working, so we need to debug it. So see, modified transaction IDs. Okay. First or default. Okay, so something's causing an exception to be thrown, so we need to debug this. Let's set a breakpoint. I guess let's just set a breakpoint on this this is definitely getting hit. So let's do what is it? TD? Can't remember. I don't remember what I mapped to the debug test. Oh, I'm in the wrong file. There we go. Yeah, I think it's leader TD. There we go. Cybersecurity for me has paid less and was always a horizontal transition. Let's see. The property transaction.id is part of a key, so cannot be modified or marked as modified. To change the principal of an existing entity with an identifying foreign key, first delete the dependent and invoke save changes, then associate the dependent with the new principal. Interesting. So I'm doing something wrong. Well, that's good. See, it's good to write tests. Let's see, what am I doing wrong? Is it a problem with my test code, or is it a problem with... So here's our new transaction data. Sets the values of this object by copying values from the given object. The given object can be of any type. Any property on the object with a name that matches the name in the entity type can be read will be copied. Other properties will be ignored. For example, copying properties from simple transfer objects. Okay. So it must be trying to copy the ID property. The entry method can only be used on entities that are not yet tracked. This does not start tracking the entity. The state of the entity is still detached. However, the returned entity entry can then be used to change the entity state, at which point the entity will become tracked in a given state. Okay, let's get our buddy Gemini here. Yo, in C#, let's see. Working with entity framework to update an existing entity with the new values from another entity using the set values method. How do I avoid trying to overwrite the ID property? I wonder if I just have to explicitly set it when I'm creating the new data. Like I just need to explicitly pass in the existing transaction. Explicitly ignore the ID. Explicitly mark the ID property as is modified false. Huh. Synchronize the IDs before applying values. Okay, but they don't have setters. No. Huh. Almost makes me want to do add another method. See, if I was using records, I could do something like where am I? You know, we could do something like var new transaction data equals existing with, right? We could do something like that. But obviously this is not a record. So I almost want to implement my own with method. Like dot with, and then yeah, I might do something like that. It's kind of interesting. I've never done that before. I mean, the easiest thing would just be to add an overload. We could do this. I am vibe coding an app with some basic role-based auth, and of course, Claude overlooks some basic route protections on some write endpoints. Know what you're doing, people? Oh no, you don't. Fernando, what are you talking about? Don't you know? Software engineering is already dead, okay? And like, it's gonna be fully automated in like 6 months. So, I don't know what you're talking about. I just debugged a memory access error. I'm back to being a coding god. Good for you. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a roller coaster of emotions. You need to add a layer of sarcasm. I took you seriously for a second there. I mean, vibe coding rules. Hey man, I've got no problem with vibe coders. Do you take milk with your coffee? Not typically. Usually I just drink coffee black, but I don't have anything against people who put milk and sugar in their coffee, you know. If you enjoy doing milk and sugar, more power to you. You know what I mean?
Uncle Pee-wee is telling you to drink some coffee.
I just ran out. And we only have 10 minutes left of the stream, so I cannot caffeinate anymore. I mean, I could spend the last 10 minutes of the stream just getting coffee. This is also a viable solution. See, this becomes user ID, and this becomes account ID. And I absolutely hate this code. Okay, which means then we can go back here and we say existing.id. What does that do? Let's try to rerun the test now. Hydrate? Why no text to speech? Should have worked. Huh. Oh, I think maybe you have to do a very specific reward. There we go.
I'd like to say something.
Hydrate.
There we go. I like it. And I'm out of water too. I don't know. It's all this.
I'd like to say something.
Macs are for those who don't want to know why their computer works. Linux is for those who want to know why their computer works. DOS is for those who want to know why their computer doesn't work. Windows is for those who don't want to know why their computer doesn't work.
Seems like accurate descriptions, man. I just want to live in bliss, okay? All right, just let me live my life, man. All right, now the test passes. Okay, so first of all, I absolutely hate this. But this is where I've coded myself into. I think it would be interesting to be able to do something like var new equals existing dot width, and then we could pass in the Plaid modified transaction like that. Or with changes from. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of exposing public setters, you know, myself. Whoops. So what might that look like? If we were to remove, let's say all this stupid stuff we did here, what if we remove this? We said, there's our user IDs. This is what we had originally. And then what if we had something that was an instance method where we said, I don't know. Or I guess we could have like a... Spend way too much time thinking about this stuff. But that's part of the fun. Maybe an update with would be kind of cool. Update with. And then we could have private setters in here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna think about that. Let's vibe code it up. Or AI chat it up. Let's see, I'm working in C#, using entity framework for persistence. I really hate exposing public setters. I really hate exposing public setters on my classes. However, I know I need to have some paradigm that allows entities to have their properties updated or changed so we can persist these changes to the database. Is there an existing pattern or best practices? Oh my goodness, it's freaking out. Best practice that folks use in this case? I also, let's see, keep in mind, I also do not want to write a method to set every property. That needs to be changed. Yay, vibe coding! Even when I do learn to code, I'll use the machine. Go for it, man. Uncle Pee-wee said, "You know what you must do." Let's see. The good news, Entity Framework is quite sophisticated at handling encapsulation. You can maintain a clean domain model while still allowing EF to perform its persistence magic. Okay, so private set. The updater modify. Since you want to avoid writing a unique method for every single property, the best practice is a group related changes into intent-based methods. Instead of thinking about updating columns, think about the action being performed. Okay. Change contact info. I don't think I want to do backing fields. So I think that, yeah, I think this is what I'm going to have to do, but it does need to be like an update. It needs to be generalized. And maybe we can just overload it when we need to add stuff to it. So we'll do like an update with. So let's go to transaction. Public void update fuck it, I'm gonna do this. Alright, let's see. Okay, wild idea. I want to recreate the same experience of the with keyword when working with records, but for classes used in entities. Entity framework, model entities with records. You typically model entities using classes, not C# record types, because EF Core relies on reference equality for tracking entities. However, record types can be used for owned entities. Yeah. All right, let's see what Gemini comes up with. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of, yeah, I'm definitely fighting, like I'm fighting the paradigm here. So let's do going. See, but the problem is, I want. The problem is I don't want my domain transaction to know about going Plaid transactions. So I think this is going to have to be an extension method. Yeah. I don't know. I can't make up my mind. I've already spent 15 minutes longer than I should have fussing with this. See, this is why you guys need to just use AI to code. See, James. I love taking a screenshot of a UI Claude fucked up and telling Claude, as you can see, this is wrong. Fernando, use the repository pattern. I will eventually, I think, refactor towards a repository pattern, but I haven't got that far yet. Right now, I'm just using the DB context everywhere. Man, those folks making game mods are going to be cooked by vibe coding, I guess. We'll see. I have yet to have my life be made better by something that was vibe coded. You know, I mean, if all this, if AI is supposed to be creating all this kick-ass new software, I've yet to purchase or use a piece of software that exists because AI exists, and it makes my life tangibly better. So that's I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the breakthrough. I'm still waiting for this transformational piece of technology that everybody claims is coming. It was a joke, but Oblivion didn't take the bait. That you know of. Oh, I mean that's fair, Bob. That's fair. So secretly, AI has been slowly improving my quality of life for the last 3 years, and I've had no idea. I mean, it is possible. I mean, you're not wrong. Let's see. We want to do extension. This is the new syntax that we can do. So we do extension off of where is it? Right here. And instead of that, excuse me. Alright, so we're going to have a public method void update with and it will take a going Plaid entity Now, I do have a question. Remove update with does not access instance data. Okay, so it might though. Give me a sec. So if I go to this definition, and if let's say I make this a private setter, can that piece of code access it now? So if I do merchant name, oh, I have to do transaction dot merchant name equals hello. No, that doesn't work. Oh yeah, well, that's not gonna work. I think I'm stuck. I think I'm at a point where I just need to accept the fact that the shit has to be mutable. Fuckity fuck. It bothers me so much. Yeah, that bothers me so much. Why does it bother me so much? I have no idea. It just does. I don't know. It just does, people. This shit has to be mutable. Every functional program. It does. This shit has to be mutable, man. It's just like, I'm just going to have to give up. I was trying to write the code. I was trying to write all this code to where I could avoid that whenever possible. But I think the fact I'm using Entity Framework and the fact that I'm trying to keep my domain model from knowing about the outside world is going to force me into that. Otherwise, I'm going to write a lot of code, a lot of boilerplatey code. Buffer. You can have a method to update the fields. You can unit test them too. Yeah, see the problem that I know it really is, you're right. It is that simple. The problem is like in this example, I want to be able to update the merchant name, description, amount, and date, right? And possibly the metadata. Which means that if I don't want to expose a public setter like this, and you might say, well, why don't you want to expose a public setter? I don't know. It doesn't feel good that the outside world can just change my shit. So I don't like that. So then, like to your point, you could do private set, and you could have something like public void set merchant name, right? Which is a very explicit declaration that, hey, you're going to allow people to call this to change stuff, right? The problem there is, well, then you're basically just doing this. Basically the same thing for the most part, unless you have some sort of validation or asynchronous code that you need to happen every time you set a name, right? So the trade-off there is not really worth it, in my opinion. It's also kind of annoying. It would also be kind of annoying in the calling code to always have to be able to, every time I want to do an update like that, where were we? Here? I would have to then call multiple methods, right? So I'd have to say existing modified transactions dot, whoops, not existing, existing dot set merchant name, right? And I'd have to do that for every property. Or if I went the public setter route instead of a setting method, I'd have to do this, right, on every property, which is, again, it's annoying. Because you're basically writing like a bunch of manual mapping code, essentially. What I really want to be able to do is I really want to be able to do something like this, where I have a single method, and I pass in the object that I want to use to update this object. The problem with that approach is that this type right here comes from an external package. And so then that kind of pollutes my domain model, because my transaction model shouldn't really know about a Plaid transaction. It shouldn't really know about any of that. So I'm kind of in a catch-22. There's not really a better way to slice this. I might do some research. This has to be a solved problem. Other people must deal with this, right? In C# when you're working with entity framework and you're trying to not pollute the domain, there's got to be a way, a pattern or something that people use that's extensible and reusable. It's got to be out there. I just need to spend some time researching it. I just don't like any of the options in front of me at the moment. They all seem stupid and dumb. Is it 7? Okay. All right. Well, that's going to be the end of the stream today. What? We wrote like 3 unit tests? No, we wrote 3 integration tests. So it was a very productive day. But it was fun nonetheless. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Keep me company. Max, good job. Thank you. Thank you, Max. I appreciate the encouragement. And we found 1,000 alternatives to GitHub. We did do that. So see you, Fernando. Have a good day. See you, Buffer. Sorry, Voltaire. That's bad timing. That's bad timing, man. All right, guys. Excuse me, if you're new here and you want to come back and hang out in the future, the best place to find us is from 4:15 to 7 a.m. most mornings on Twitch and YouTube. So I'll put that schedule in the chat there. And then if you guys ever want to chat outside of the stream, we do have a Discord. You're welcome to join the Discord. It's just discord.stephenfreeborn.com. Super easy to remember. But thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I really appreciate it. This is basically the vibes on most every stream, with a little more or less AI thrown in. Or not like coding with AI, but discussion of AI. All right. Bye, D. Bye, Duck Boy. Bye, Bob. Bye. Bye, Oblivion. Bye, Max Dev Mastery. Bye, Buffer. Bye, Fernando. Bye, Voltaire. Sorry about missing you, man. See Pablo. Bye, Oblivion. Bye, Uncle Pee-wee. Bye, James. All right, I think that's everybody. All right, bye, guys. Bye. See you guys. Have a good day. Bye. Talk to you guys later.